7 fraud. I made my own lane, so you can tell me nah. You can never stop me, never lock me, never block me from the top. See, I'm not cocky, keep the stick in hand like hockey. Turn the tables, no this jockey with the squad, and they all got me, yeah.
Well, not even a blizzard of Blue Jay basketball in Omaha, Nebraska. The Big East road trip is here in the heartland, and we're live from the CHI Health Center, Omaha, for the 22nd ranked Creighton Blue Jays and the St. John's Red Storm. Hello everyone, Anna Bellinghausen, Andrew Rogers alongside with you ahead of Creighton and St. John's. Andrew, it's a great matchup we have on hand between the 22nd ranked Blue Jays and a red-hot Red Storm team. Andrew, what are you expecting today?
This one really comes down to the battle of the bigs. You have Joel Soriano on the Johnny side, who's been absolutely dominant all season long. Let's go back 2 seasons, 34 double-doubles. He's a double-double machine, but let's not forget who Creighton has on the other side. His counterpart, Ryan Kalkbrenner, just didn't accidentally fall into Big East Defensive Player of the Year nominees, and he will be one of the toughest players to go up against all season long.
Absolutely, Andrew. Well, let's take a look at some of the Big East headlines, and I think you have to start off with St. John's and this Rick Pitino-led team. What's been impressive about their start?
Well, are we actually surprised that a Rick Pitino team is winning? I can't imagine anyone is. They're 2-1 in true road games this season. 5 Johnnies averaged double figures on the year, and I think the number to watch out for is this. If Creighton can get to the 76 mark, that will be a world of pain for St. John's, because Creighton 14-0 all-time in matchups when they hit 76 against St. John's.
Well, Andrew, the next matchup we're looking at is, of course, Butler against a good Seton Hall team. But Butler had some magic themselves, having a little upset against Marquette on the road. But can Butler continue that?
I'm not really sure if Butler even knows who they are just yet this season. Thad Matta's has done a tremendous job flipping the script. Last season, it was a tough look, but they got a lot of transfers in the portal, and they've really started to gel early on this season. But they take on Seton Hall, who's been the best team in the Big East so far this season. They've won 6 of their last 7. Don't think it's going to be an easy night for the Butler Bulldogs, especially if you have a guy like Kadari Richmond scoring the basketball for the Pirates.
And lastly, Andrew, Xavier and Providence, 2 teams really trying to right the ship, especially Providence falling in the top 25 of the AP polls and then also on a 3-game losing streak. Who needs to right the ship a little bit more?
Well, I think Providence is still trying to survive the loss of Bryce Hopkins, and they're trying to figure out life without him, and it's been tough. It's been visibly tough. You can actually see it on all ends of the floor. But for Xavier, just kind of like Rick Pitino, Sean Miller wins everywhere he goes, and Xavier has the leading scorer in the Big East this season in Quincy Olivari. They also have a lot of new faces, which, you know, that was kind of the big surprise to me. Could they get acclimated early enough to give them a spark? Their record may not show it, but those young guys seem to be up to speed.
Well, Andrew, let's take a peek at the Big East standings. So we've got a tie up for first place, a 4-way tie. Again, a Big East conference that's just stacked with talent. Up top, we got UConn, St. John's, Seton Hall, and then Villanova. But, Andrew, who's the biggest surprise on this list?
I think it's Marquette. Marquette's fallen off a lot. Now, they did lose Sean Jones, who isn't a huge piece to that team, but Marquette is kind of fizzling off. Everybody expected them to be the team to beat this season, and seeing them in the middle of the pack is a little bit alarming.
And then Creighton's right outside that number 1 spot, really, with that 4-way tie. What does Creighton need to do to kind of break through in that spot?
Well, just keep winning. And if they win these next 3 matchups, which they have on paper, it starts with St. John's, you go to UConn, you go to Seton Hall. If they can find a way to win these 3 games, that will propel them to the top of the standings.
Well, Andrew, thank you. And we've got some special guests coming right up here, some former Blue Jays joining us on the Big East Shootaround at the Big East Road Trip. We'll be right back from Omaha, Nebraska.
Fresh, warm hot dogs.
When I'm not selling hot dogs, I invest in a fund that advances innovations like robotics.
Fresh, warm hot dogs straight out of my torso. One for you, one for you. Oh, you're a messy one.
Cool, right? So cool.
Anyone can become an agent of innovation with Invesco QQQ, a fund that gives you access to NASDAQ 100 innovations.
Hot dogs. Fresh, warm hot dogs.
Before investing, carefully read and consider fund investment objectives, risk, charges, expenses, and more in prospectus at Invesco.com.
welcome from New York City as we get set for our Big East tournament. 1, 2, 3, sold out Madison Square Garden. This is going to be a loud atmosphere. Cross court, jams it down.
Listen to this crowd.
At the buzzer. It's rejected.
What a game at the world's most famous arena.
Welcome back to the Big East Shoot-Around. We've got a special guest up here, Jahans Manigat. Jahans, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
First off, how have you been? What have you been up to?
I've been good. The last 10 years, I'm still playing pro overseas. A little bit of different situation this year, but still looking to keep the dream alive. But it's been an awesome experience being able to play all over Europe and some parts of Canada. So it's been a great ride for me.
You managed to get back for Doug McDermott's retirement, which is a pretty exciting time, a pretty big deal to everybody here at the CHI Health Center. But what was playing with Doug like, and how was that relationship still ongoing?
It was an incredible experience. He honestly made everyone better in that locker room just because of how selfless he was, even though he was scoring a ton of points. If another guy got like 15, 20 points, he'd be the happiest guy in the locker room. So playing with Doug was just such a neat experience, just seeing how hard he worked. He pretty much convinced me to get in the gym and get better every day, get those extra shots up and things of that nature. Certainly was a leader by example, more by example than vocal. I think I took most of that brunt, but no, it was just such a crazy ride. I remember his senior year when he was just losing his mind on all these Big East teams, and a lot of people didn't think our transition from the Valley to the Big East was going to be as successful as it was, but Doug and obviously what Coach Mack did had a big part to play in that. So I was just very fortunate to be in that situation, and I'm super grateful to be around him and around the Jays at that time, and it was just the best time of our lives.
I think it worked out pretty well, Creighton moving over to the Big East. Do we think so?
I believe so, yeah. It's kind of crazy when you think back where we were back then to where we are now, how much more hype there is around not only the city of Omaha, but on campus. We have national commercials now. Obviously, there's a lot more students at the school now than it was even 10 years ago when I was there. So it's incredible. I don't think it's something that Creighton fans should take for granted, but I think it's also only the beginning for what we're going to be looking like as Big East competitors.
You're a transplant. I'm a transplant. I need to know the spot to be in town.
The spot to be in town. Wow, you are. All right, here we go.
Think back.
I'm gonna. There's a lot of establishments that I frequent that are not gonna be happy that I say that I don't say their name, but I would say I guess you got to be in the Blackstone District area if you want a decent night out. I would say Scriptown is probably one of my favorite spots that just have a beer and hang out. Let It Fly is a new bar that opened right across the street that gets a lot of patrons after Jays games. And I've been there for these last couple of games. It's a neat environment, and especially when the Jays are on the road, that's where everybody goes to watch those games. So I would say let's just start with those two for now.
Absolutely. Well, now the tough part. We're going to make you have some picks for the 3 games in the Big East today.
Here we go.
We'll start with the ones away from Omaha. Seton Hall at Butler. Who you got?
Seton Hall at Butler. Butler's a tough place to play, and Thon Mata's his record speaks for itself. So I'll go Butler on that one at home.
Andrew?
I'm with Seton Hall, the hottest team in the Big East right now, and Kadari Richmond's going to have a big game.
All right, let's see.
You would know more, though, right? Yeah, because you play.
I just know it's really tough to play at Butler. We were able to get a win the one time that I was there, but you walk in and it's just such a historic venue that sometimes teams kind of lose sight of the goal at hand. So hopefully that doesn't happen to Seton Hall, but I place my money that, it's just really tough to beat Butler at home.
All right, Xavier at Providence.
Xavier at Providence. That's tough because Providence, with them having lost their best player, I guess I got to give it to Xavier there. That's another really tough. There's no easy place to play at in the Big East, so I'll go Xavier at home.
I'll take the road team again as well. I think Sean Miller will have his guys ready to go in this one, and as I previously talked about, these young guys have really acclimated to the game quickly, which I think is something to be said for an experienced coach like Miller.
The last one, the best one. Maybe I'm a little bit biased. St. John's at Creighton.
Obviously got to go with St. John. No, just all kidding. Obviously, the boys got this one for sure. Jays by a million today.
Start a Jays chant for me.
Let's go, Jays! We got the best fans in the nation, hands down.
With that, I'm going with the Jays, too, because I don't know if I'm going to get out of here alive.
Yeah, I was going to say, Andrew.
Don't take the Creighton Blue Jays
Omaha's
at home.
a tough place to get out of if you don't prefer the Jays, that's for sure.
Apparently, every place is a tough place to play if you are on the road.
Honestly, it really is. I can't, say it enough. There's no easy road games. There's no easy games in the Big East to speak of, but there's no easy road games for sure. Everywhere that you got to go, you got to bring your A game. So that's why I most likely favor home teams. Honestly, no matter what the record is, we're going to see later down in the season when teams kind of separate themselves. It's still going to be really tough to get those road wins. So, I just think all three home teams today are going to get those W's.
All right, we can't let you go without a little competition. So we got the Pop-A-Shot Challenge over here. So unless Josh Jones appears out of thin air, we're going to have you go up against our man, Andrew Rogers. Are you ready?
Hey, I was once a superstar of the women's practice squad, so I'd watch out.
I'm a little worried. If the suit jacket comes off, I'll be a little worried. But if you keep the suit jacket on, I fancy my chances.
All right, we'll have you guys head over there. You got 30 seconds on the clock. See how many we can get. All right, we'll get him on over there. Jahans Manigaw, former Blue Jay legend, and then another legend, if you will, Andrew Rogers. All right, I've got 30 seconds. We got 30 seconds on the clock. All right, guys. 3, 2, 1, go. $20 seconds. Oh my gosh, Andrew Rogers. 3, 2, 1. Andrew Rogers, you won that. Beat a Blue Jay legend. Okay. You know, I don't even have the official count, but I've got a lot of tallies towards Andrew and only a few towards Jahans.
Oh, God, that was not embarrassing in the slightest, you guys.
I'm a Dave & Buster's legend.
I'm not a pro player at all.
Did you warm up before this?
No, not at all, as you can tell. Also, Pop-A-Shot, very different game than the actual thing. You kind of have to be there to realize it.
Well, if it wasn't a different game, I think I would have played longer.
Oh, God. Great game, though. Great shooting out there. I thought your form was spectacular, as mine was not.
I sense some saltiness.
That's okay. We can have a rematch after the show. Jahans, thank you so much for joining the Big East
thanks for having me. This was fun, guys. And obviously, you guys are doing a great thing with the Big East Conference and all that stuff. And as always, let's go Jays. Let's go Jays.
All right. Thank you so much. And we'll be right back from Omaha, Nebraska.
This is the game in its purest form. Where the passion lasts a lifetime. The rivalries stay true, and the power of the upset is real. The dunks, the blocks, and threes, the stuff that legends are built on. It's a special day of college hoops on Fox, Monday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern.
Electricity in the building because this is the big one. This is the Big East, folks. Nothing's going to be easy. How about that? Sold out Madison Square Garden, the mecca of basketball. Listen to this building. It's absolutely rocking. Cross court, jams it down. Big fella. Champions of the Big East tournament.
Welcome back to the Big East Shoot-Around. You can enter for a chance to win an all-expensive paid trip to the men's or women's Big East tournament. Must be 18 years or older to win. Andrew, I don't know if you can apply for that.
I may look 16, but I know I'm above the age of 18.
Well, Andrew, let's talk a little bit more about this battle we have upcoming. Creighton St. John's, noon tip-off on Fox. Starting with the visitors, though, Big East player to watch for the St. John's team.
Yeah, that's Joel Soriano, a pretty easy one to choose here. Again, a double-double machine. He's just a bully. He gets his looks. Whenever he's up against a defender one-on-one, he moves through him like a hot knife through butter. It's insane how he's able to get the boards on almost every opportunity. He's somebody to really be aware of because his presence is almost defensive end-like. He's so explosive. He's got great pace. He's got good form. He's the one to watch out for.
And for the Creighton side, who are you looking at?
Baylor Shireman. That's an easy one, too. Shireman, the best part about him is he's not just a three-point shooter anymore. He's somebody that can really get to the rack if need be. And good shooters, whenever you have somebody close out hard on you, are able to do that. And so that's been a nice piece to his game this season. He's really stepped up for Creighton early on as they still try to find a way to be consistent across the board.
And Andrew, going back to the visitors, what are the keys for a St. John's victory?
Yeah, St. John's today has their work cut out for them, but if they crash the offensive boards, they'll be able to get a lot of second chance looks. Creighton is top 5 in the country in defensive rebounds a game. They will ball hawk anytime a ball gets shot, so be aware for the Johnnies to really crash the glass. Also, defend the perimeter. You know the Jays like to shoot the basketball. The Johnnies have held opponents to 26.7% from deep in the previous 4 games, but Creighton leads the conference in three-point field goal percentage. The last one, you have to wear down those Creighton starters. Get them to the bench, maybe get them in foul trouble. Creighton doesn't foul too often, but if you can get these guys off the floor, force their bench on, the Blue Jay bench, 7.4 points per game in conference play.
And then for the Blue Jays, for all these fans to go home happy, what needs to happen for a Creighton win?
Well, you got to start with limiting St. John's on the offensive glass. You actually have to grab those boards anytime a shot gets brought up. Top 5 team in the country in offensive rebounds. Avoid second chance points at all costs. Ryan Kalkbrenner, if you lock down Joel Soriano, it should be a pretty easy night for the Blue Jays. But if Soriano's getting his points, he gets a lot of them. If he gets his boards, that's why he's a double-double machine. It will be a tough match for the Blue Jays. And then the last one, push the basketball. Get some pace. Be good in transition. That's where Creighton thrives. And if they can work the floor up and down, they can then tire out this Johnny's team.
Well, Andrew, we're inching closer towards the noon tip-off between Creighton and St. John's right here in Omaha, Nebraska. When we come back, we'll talk some Big East women's basketball hoops.
Impact, we pair kids who have been sidelined by serious illness and disability with college teams from across the country. It's more than a single-day meet and greet or photo opportunity. Our program places kids on a multi-year journey, becoming true members of a collegiate athletics team.
1, 2, 3,
From signing day
We'll put this right here.
to game day.
I can't describe it. It feels amazing.
Team impact. All in, all together.
Welcome back to Omaha. Let's talk some women's basketball across the Big East. It's just an absolutely stacked conference. Andrew, let's take a peek at those women's standings.
Well, UConn obviously at the top. They look incredible, even with the trouble they're in with their injury situation. Paige Beckers has done a really nice job, though, of stepping up and being the player we knew she was before she went out with injury. You know, we talk about the Caitlin Clark treatment across women's basketball. It started with Paige, and then it merged into Caitlin when Paige took a back seat. But up and down the rankings, it's anybody's game. It's anybody's ball game. You can go all the way down to Seton Hall at 2 and 3. The conference is so widespread, and if anybody can touch into UConn a little bit, they could overtake it at any time.
Absolutely anyone's ball game in the Big East. 22nd ranked Creighton Blue Jays on the women's side. So the men are also ranked 22. Women's
oddly enough.
Parallel that. Yeah, it is an awesome thing. Providence at home for the Blue Jays. What do you think will be important in that matchup for the Jays to continue their winning streak?
Well, you got to stick to your game plan. This is two different styles of basketball. You have Creighton, who's very fast-paced. They like to get the ball moving. They love keeping possession. But you have Providence that likes to control the tempo, control the game, maybe keep points off the board. Emma Ronzik will be key to Creighton to continue her dominance offensively. She's averaged around 21 points and 5 boards in the last 9 games, so that's a pretty good start.
Yeah, Emma Ronsik's been absolutely incredible the past couple of months, and the Blue Jays will look for their 3rd straight victory tomorrow, and that is, again, Providence, 1 p.m. on the Big East Digital Network. Andrew, let's learn a little bit more about Creighton women's basketball.
Well, it starts with just retention and development of players. Recruiting is obviously important, but there's less you can control in recruiting.
Just being from Sioux Falls, it's not a far drive at all, and just the coaches, talking to them, they really made me feel wanted here. You guys know Flan, and he's just one of the best guys. He takes his job very seriously. He does really well on the court, and he really knows the balance of on the court versus off the court relationships.
Both academically, athletically, and just as an individual. I feel like I'm learning new things about myself every day, and this place has allowed me to do that and grow into who I want to be.
We've retained players, and in the process of retaining, we've developed them. So my staff does a really good job of taking care of our players. That's where you get consistency, is when you have continuity across your roster.
I just saw the way that the ball moved and how certain players have such a green light, and I was like, absolutely, I can shoot. So I was like, I wanted to come here.
I think when you see our team, there's no one that really exceeds the 6'1" height limit. Everyone's pretty much 6'1" or under, and that gives us so much flexibility on offense because we have Morgan Mollies, we have me, Jamie, Mal, we have girls who can stretch the floor, and that's kind of unheard of at this high of a level.
It's basketball, you know, and the way that we play together and we know each other so well. We just click and we win games and put our school and our program on the map and just try to show them the style of basketball that we play here and our culture.
Basketball is obviously a super important piece because you have to gel well together on the court, but if you don't gel off the court, it's just not gonna make anything work on the court. We're all best friends off the court, which kind of sounds cliche, but it's serious here. Like when we say that we're best friends off the court and on the court, we genuinely mean it. It's just been a great ride the past 4 years, and I'm just really excited for this year.
The time is always right.
To stand up against hate and bigotry. The time is always right.
To face racism head on.
As we honor the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.,
Let's remember his words that challenge us.
Let's consider the impact of our actions.
We should strive to be more than just champions in sports,
but also to be champions
in the pursuit of justice and equality. The time is always right.
The time is always right to do what is right.
And that time
is now.
Welcome back from Omaha, Nebraska, live with the Big East Shootaround. We've got some more special guests, the Big East champs of Creighton volleyball, guys.
Hi.
Hello, Sydney Breisinger.
Welcome.
Yes. And also assistant coach Brian Rosen alongside with us, guys. How are we doing right now in the off season?
Good. I mean, we had our first practice this past week, and I'm excited to be back in the gym.
And congrats on making the Sweet 16 in the NCAA tournament. Yeah. Take me through some of the strides you've seen this team make over the last year.
Yeah, I mean, I felt strong with our team all season. Like, we came out with such a strong, competitive preseason schedule, but we held our own just as good as we could. And then going into Big East Conference play, I felt super strong, and our connection on the court and off the court with each other only got stronger throughout the season. So I was super happy, and then obviously such a great finish for our team. Third time in program history. It was amazing to be a part of that.
Yeah, really talented team. Obviously, 2 years prior, we had some late season injuries, right, going into the NCAA tournament. I think this year we reversed that. We had a lot of injuries, Sydney included, during the season. But going into the NCAA tournament, we were completely healthy, and I think that was a huge difference. I think this was the best the Big East League has been in a long time as well. We were the 6th best league in the country this year, which was awesome for us to get ready for the tournament.
Just get the injuries out of the way early and then succeed in the postseason. Just how you have to do it every single year. Coach, I want to ask about the key transfers you got into. Can you take us through those 2 new women to this program?
Yeah, I think just bring a ton of experience. So Maddie Bilanovic from Penn State, she's played libero, she's played DS, really feisty competitor, leader. First practice, already heard her being like really vocal in the gym, so that's great. She also went to the Sweet 16 this year with Penn State, and her big initial thing with us is, I want to go farther. And then Elise Getzinger from Kentucky. She has never lost a match in the city of Omaha, which is incredible. She won a national championship right here in this gym. So we're just really excited to welcome her as a middle, really good off one foot, which Kiana Schmidt, who graduated for us last year, she's someone that's going to compete to fill that role.
Sydney, what are some team goals in 2024?
Team goals, I mean, we already have come up with our word for the season is edge. We want to take it a step further than we did last year. We want to show up in the gym every single day, get 1% better every single time we take the court, and just really push the limits and see what this team can do next season.
Well, we're so excited to see you guys back on the court pretty soon. You're already starting practice, so ready to go. Okay, before we let you go, can we get a score prediction for today, Creighton versus St. John's?
Oh. Ryan, you first.
Creighton 1,000, St. John's 47.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Creighton 1,000,000.
There you go.
Led by Mason 50. Miller, or?
Probably equal distribution amongst all.
Well, guys, thank you so much for the time, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
All right, Andrew. Well, that about wraps up our Big East Shootaround ahead of the noon tip-off right here on Fox between Creighton and St. John's. Andrew, last words before this matchup.
Well, it's going to be a tough one, and like I said at the very beginning, watch out for the big battle. You have Ryan Kalkbrenner against Joel Soriano. We really didn't get into how much Creighton needs to get the ball inside to Ryan Kalkbrenner because he is so established, and he does such a nice job anytime he has the rock down low. If they can mix in his defensive ability with offensive ability early on in this game, talk about full court, total domination for Creighton.
Absolutely. Great matchup ahead of us right here from Omaha, Nebraska. For Andrew Rogers, I'm Anna Bellinghausen. Thank you so much for joining us at the Big East Shootaround from the Big East Road Trip.